Well, hello there and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well and having a beautiful day, doing whatever makes you happy in your happy space. Welcome to those of you who are new to my channel, and for those of you who are finding me for the first time, well, hi. My name is Karen and I really enjoy making quilts and anything else that comes to sewing and being very creative. I like to sort of push myself to boundaries and to see what's beyond rather than just following the norm of quilting. So I just like to express myself. So if that's something you're into, come on in, join in, sit down, and let's get started. All right, so in today's tutorial, we will be moving on to block number 12. If you've made it so far, give yourself a round of applause because 12 blocks that you've learned to make beautiful vintage stars. Some of them a lot of you probably didn't know about. A lot of you were really excited, but at least 3 or 4 of them. But all of the blocks were well welcome in this quilt along, and certainly I heard that from you. And that was really great to get all of those feedbacks, knowing that, you know, you are so pleased with how the whole quilt along was going. I still don't know how many of you are taking part, by the way. But today's block, I thought long and hard about it, and for me, the simplest block, I think, holds, you know, a little bit of a passion in my heart. It was one of the blocks that I learned to make first of all, and I do remember when I made it, and I still got the scrap today, which I've already put in the quilt. When I first made it, I got it all wrong. It worked, but it was wrong. The color placement of the star legs was at the wrong place, but it stayed with me because it is yet so simple, yet so traditional, but yet it's something that teaches you a lot about making flying geeses and correct measurements. And so if you don't know what I'm referring to, I'm just going to step aside so you can see one on my wall already. All right, so that is the Sawtooth star, and I think it's deserving for block number 12. It's simple, it's traditional, it has great potential, it's but I should say endless potential, and it's very historical. As far as I'm aware, it came about in 1884, I think, and it was first published by a particular magazine, and so it yields to me greatness, definitely. All right, so it's humble because it's so simple, but it teaches you a lot. So I think it was sort of referenced in terms of being a sawtooth and sort of remembering the teeth of a saw, if my memory serves me correct. If I am incorrect, please correct me, any one of you out there. But yeah, it's a beautiful block, and let's dive into it, you know, and I'm going to make something a little bit scrappy out of it as well, just to sort of highlight it. I don't want it to be as plain as this one in the background here. I just don't want it to be one solid color. So I have taken the concept of, you know, improvising and adding a little bit more colors into the blocks, as I have done with most of the blocks that we've actually made. So let's pay homage to the Sawtooth star, you know, and rock with it. As I said, simple, beautiful, traditional, and well deserving of being the 12th block on our quilt along. So let's get started, and let's see where it takes us, you know, because yeah, I'm excited about this one. I am so excited to see the completion of this vintage star quilt along. So let's get into it. All right, guys, so we're going to get started. So here are all of the sizes that I have here. You need a pen and a ruler, and we're going to be starting with our smaller squares here. Now I have opted to use a 2-color square in the middle to see how this actually works out, but we'll see. If it doesn't feel, you know, it doesn't give me a vibe, then obviously I will change it and obviously inform you of that. So we're going to draw a line to the back of these ones here. Very quick and simplistic style. I need to stop saying simplistic because as I discovered when I was first making these, they are not always simplistic, especially if it's the first time you are making it. So I apologize to anyone who feels that, you know, oh, it's not easy. And I totally agree, because as I said, when I first made mine, the very first time, it didn't come out the way I expected. Now we're going to move on to our next largest square here, and we'll be making 2 sets today if I haven't acknowledged that as yet. So one of the reasons I decided was to make the 2 is because I just feel that I wanted to have the blocks not to be laid out in the traditional sense. So what I mean by that is, normally when you make your quilt top, you will stack all of the quilts in rows, isn't it? Even if you do it on point, it will still be in rows, but on point. But for this one, I wanted to challenge you to go outside the norm and for us to do something differently. And that way, it will, you know, it pushes your boundaries in terms of your learning, so that you can make your quilts without having to always go in a row. You know, so if you want to place, because if you remember, a lot of the blocks are different sizes. I think the last week's block was, I think, 15.5 or 15 inches square. So they're randomly placed, and then we're going to fit the blocks where we want them, not so necessarily in a row in that traditional sense. So let's get out of that, and again, you know, push the boundaries and get something really fantastic out of it. So I've placed my squares here front sides down together, and I'm using a different combination of colors. Now normally with a traditional sawtooth, you would have your legs the same color, but in this instance here, again, we're pushing the boundaries, aren't we, so that we can do something different. And again, for me, when you change things up, that's when learning solidifies. It's there, it's permanent. You know, you don't have to, you know, gravitate towards something else. Be like, this is my way. And because I know the basics, now I can extend beyond that. So we're changing it up. All right, so we got another 2 here that we're going to do. We're going to do making flying geeses 2 at a time. So let's move on to the sewing machine now. So it's facing front sides down. And all I'm going to do is run a stitch line along there. Right, so once you've added the blocks together and you've added your line to the middle and you've sewn on the 1/4 inch on each side, we are going to line it up diagonally, point to point, and simply just cut. All right, once you've done that, you're going to give yourself a little bit of a press, and we're going to fold this back. Now it looks a bit funny at the moment, but I promise you it is fine. There is no error here at all, so try not to panic about it if you've never done them like this before. So what I'm going to do is fold it back and give it a bit of a press. It's important that you actually press it at this stage. Right, so that's that one there. And let's do the other one. I'm trying not to mix the colors up because I'm doing 2 at a time, which is good in the sense that you know, you're multitasking and you're fully concentrating. Do remember, if you make mistake on one, try not to make the mistake on the other. So just press it back. I'll leave those ones up there. Well, I just threw my pen on the floor. All right, so the next best thing to do now is to take the other. I'm going to put these up there. Again, don't want to mix them up. Take the other squares and we're going to put it right in the middle there. I've already drawn my lines on it, and you're going to do the same thing. So you're going to stitch a 1/4 inch on either side of that line on both of them. Okay. If you want, you can pin so that it stays in place, but it's entirely down to you. All right, so once you have from this sort of heart shape, you're going to then, as I mentioned before, add the last 2 squares individually on there, draw your lines and sew. So now that we've done that, what we're going to do is to simply cut it off like so. Let's make sure and get that open up properly. And again, we are going to press it back again. But before I do that, let me put that aside and get these 2 done. So we'll put that there and that there.
Baby, you give me my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby, and twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist your body and mine. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Let's not get ahead of my time. Oh.
Okay, so let's go back to the first block. So I'm going to iron it now. So they're going to look like this once you have completed, and you're going to fold it back, and you got your beautiful, very accurate flying geese. All right, so again, I'm going to put this on. Try not to make it too hot. So I'm only putting the steam on when I need it. I'm just pressing, and that way the iron doesn't overheat. Let's do the other one as I'm here, just so that it gets finished very quickly. Very quick block and very satisfying to make, I may add. I do like making it. We will need to do a little bit of trimming, obviously. But that's neither here or there, isn't it? That's when you make flying geese. You must do a little bit of trimming, remove dog ears, etc. So let's put that to the side. We'll lay them all out, and then we will sew the whole block together. Let's get a little snippet scissors to remove the dog ears at the end, and just tidy the block up. These does help a lot with the bulk. Now, let me say this for those of you who are really clever out there. Now, you could just use half square triangles to make your sawtooth. You don't have to use the method of doing flying geese. The only reason I actually did it this way, it was to reduce the bulk of the half square triangles in the middle, because when we lay it out, I'll point it out to you, so you'll see where I'm going with this comment, because it can have a bulk in the middle where the two background squares meet, you know, so you'll have that straight line. So by doing it this way, we kind of eliminate the process of having that bulk in the middle there. Let me also remove these ones, since we're doing everything in twos. And you can do that as well. I mean, if you feel more confident to just simply you know, make it one at a time, then by all means, whatever makes you happy. There's no rushing here. Everything is in your time. In your time. Go to your speed. But I promise you, once you've made it, you would never forget how to do it. It will literally be ingrained in the membrane. Isn't that a rap song? I'm sure it says ingrained in the membrane. That's how it goes, I think. Right, so that's that. I haven't mixed this up, have I? Yeah, so that's one, and that's that one over there. All right, so these are your flying geeses. I just missed another one. So you should have 4 of them, like so. My gosh, so many dog hairs. I thought I've gotten all. I still have more. And that's what I mean about having that point, you know, that actual, when you make your half square triangles, as I said, if you want to make half square triangles and make it, you do have that line in the middle there where the half square triangle actually meets. All right, but let's lay this all out. So we're going to start with the square in the middle and see if it actually works with this particular double block. And do remember that if you put it like so, you need to trim. I haven't trimmed, so I'm just going to have to do that. So do remember, if you put it like that, you're making the wrong pattern. All right, so let's remind myself what measurements this square is, because I cut them all yesterday in preparation for today. Yes, that's what I thought it was. So let's trim these up. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's center it. That's the easiest thing to do. Let's get the middle going so we know. I'm just going to make sure I get this right because it's so easy to, you know, make this wall. Literally, it's so easy. It's nice when all the blocks are, you know, accurately done properly. Ooh, somebody's dog is having a go at someone. I'm going to use my smaller ruler because that keeps shifting. It's so important to have sometimes, you know, the right ruler. Just about it's easier, isn't it? Because sometimes the bigger ruler makes the fabric move. Right, so let's get that now.
Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby.
Alright, so I'm going to shrink a little bit to speed this up. So I've measured this one to the size that it's supposed to be. But what I'm going to do, just to cut the line down, I'm going to put it literally both sides together, so I line it up in the middle there. And I'm simply just going to trim it off. So to the width that I want, to the size that I want, just to speed the process up. I don't have to keep taking so long to measure each of them individually. So which guarantees all the blocks going to be the same size. Alright, so you shouldn't really have any fear with that.
Don't leave me here high and dry.
Just trim the end there.
But I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Let's not get ahead of my time. Oh, but I don't wanna miss you, baby. So I stand up and speak just my mind. Oh. You're chilling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're channeling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh,
Alright, so all the trimming is done now. So let's lay out this beautiful block. Just got a little piece. There's always one that's lagging behind. Alright, so here we go. So after trimming, the next step is to simply lay it out. Now what I was about to say is to be very careful when you are putting the blocks together. So if you were to put the white touch in the center, you're going to make something like this. It looks lovely, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, really nice, but that is not what we're going for. Absolutely gorgeous, especially with that in the middle there, and obviously your white squares fit into the corner. So as you can see, the block is smaller than what we've been working with, because as I said, this is what something I wanted. So this is not the block we're going for. However, this is a beautiful block pattern if you're so fit to make something like this. Imagine this as an all over pattern, and I think it works because of the two different lines in the middle there. That looks amazing. And see, this is what I'm talking about, guys. This is my reference here in terms of this is how you expand your repertoire in learning to do things differently. This is where you shine, because you just you step out of the norm, don't you? So by simply adding just that, it changes the whole layout of the block. Let's add just this plain one in the middle there, and you see it's different already. So yeah, so this is what I'm talking about when I say I go above and beyond, just to ensure that I re-educate myself every time I do this. So as you can see, my star legs are scrappy, and I'm turning them around to make that sawtooth traditional appearance in the block. So like so. And then the last one we're going to turn. So remember, we want the legs sticking out. So that's our beautiful block there. Doesn't that look amazing? Still loving the colors being separated in the middle. I did try this particular block before in another one, and I didn't think it worked, so I think it works in this one. I mean, for this one you can even play around. So for some reason I've got them kind of close to each other, so I'm going to separate and put this one on this side and transition this one over here and see how that plays off. And I like the balance of that looks better to me. Loving that. I'm going to take a picture now so that I don't forget. And because I love this layout, because sometimes it's easier to get the layout wrong, isn't it? Because you fixed it here the way you want, and then by the time you get to the sewing machine, it's changed. So good idea is to take a picture. Now let's look at the other one with the solid block in the middle, and then we will move on. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful block. This is one of the reasons why I think it commands being the 12th block, so that it can look gorgeous. I'm going to start there. Let's turn that the right way around. Let's try and get the 2 blocks on there properly, and I'm going to go there with this one. I keep doing that. Can you notice? I keep putting the white to touch, which is amazing. So I have to check myself on that. Look at me again. See what I'm talking about? It's just so easy to pick it up the wrong way. Alright, so my battery died while I was just speaking, so I'm back now. But this is the one that we did together. And while the battery was charging for a few minutes, I decided was to change this one. And so as much as it looks good, I do prefer the 2 different tones of colors in the middle there, and I think it really highlights the star a little bit more. However, what I did was to went ahead and try out another set in the two different colors, obviously. And here you can see I've used colors that's not already in the star legs. Okay, same with this one here. This one has a darker brown and a lighter brown, and this one I've incorporated some blue and orange, sort of tying the whole blocks together because there's the brown here already. So guys, I'm going to sew this together as you would as a 9 patch. Normally you got your rows, isn't it? So I'm going to sew them and then we'll come back and present the final blocks to you. Alright, so blocks are finished. I'm just going to square them up. I haven't ironed them as yet, but I will just square them up first and just take off any trimmings that needs to be done so that it's nice and square properly. So I'm not cutting it down to a size, I'm just trimming any excess away. So like, you know, for those of you who have actually made blocks before, sometimes you tend to have slight imperfections on the end, so I'm just trimming those away. As you can see, it's small lots of trimmings that I'm taking off so that the block comes up nice and square. Alright, so now I'm going to give it a little bit of press now. Start at the back and just press it down nice and flat, so those seams lay down beautifully. And then we're going to go to the front, and I like to just put a little bit of a heat on there just to make sure those pleats or folds where the seam lines are actually opened up and everything is beautiful. Don't be afraid to get a little bit of pressure on it and just really straighten it out. Lovely. The steam is on, so it is steaming it really nicely. Beautiful block, isn't it? Very lovely. Sews together very quickly, no issues at all. Let's do the back first. And have you ever wondered what they mean by setting the seams? You know, you want to set the seams and then I don't tend to do much of that. But that literally, what it actually means is just relaxing the fabric, relaxing the threads. Because just imagine for a minute that, the needle is going through at so many, miles per second. And so the fabric can get really kind of crumpled in that area. And you may not see it visually with the eyes, but it is happening. And so setting the seams just allows it to relax in that area there. That's why the fabric gets so lovely and smooth when you steam it down and when you iron it down, because you're now just making it all relax again with the heat. So guys, so these are our 2 Sawtooth stars. So let's have a look at them. They look really beautiful, and I must admit I'm quite happy that I went ahead and remove the solid from this one, because that's what it would have looked like. So I'm quite happy with that result. So they look really beautiful, and that's what the versatility about this. Imagine this as an all over pattern. How beautiful. Whether it's on point or whether it's side to side, you still get a secondary pattern there, and on the edges there as well. So lovely. All right guys, so do like and subscribe for more. Hopefully you are taking part in the quilt along, and you'll share with me yours when we're done. So next week we'll be moving on to the borders, and of course I will tell you more about that also. But for now, happy quilting, love you lots, and I'll definitely see you in the next one, guys. Bye for now, see you soon. Bye. They look absolutely gorgeous, don't they? Really, really lovely. Bye guys, have a good one.
You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here.